Here's how I'm using Claude to analyze real estate deals. So I'm looking for a duplex in Columbia, Missouri, and I just want to know if it's going to cash flow or not, because the sellers claim it'll cash flow, but I do not know for sure, especially according to my specific financial rates and what I have to put down to get those rates. So I am going to run this deal through Claude. And I'm not sure how much you've used AI, but it has become so powerful now that I can just ask if this deal works and throw in the URL, and Claude can go and access all the information that's on the Zillow listing. I also have Claude hooked up to Realastat, which is where I store my buy box information. It's essentially like an online calculator where you can run deals through according to your financial metrics and what you're trying to get out of the property. So you can put in your specific cash flow criteria or cash on cash returns and all of that. So the AI went and grabbed the information from Zillow and it ran it through my specific criteria. And since this is hooked up directly into Realastat, I can go over into Realastat and I can see this deal live and what it pencils out to. So this is all the information that Claude was able to grab from the listing, and it threw it into Realastat. So now I can see what the math looks like according to my specific financial situation. So here in the metrics, you can see this is cash flowing at this rent, which I'm not sure if this rent is correct. It's assuming that each side of the duplex is going to bring in around $1,500 in rent. So I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate. $1,550, which is the rent comps that I think it was able to pull. It did pull rent comps from the area, so it searched all these different sources to pull rent comps for 4 bedrooms in Columbia, Missouri, which is what each side of the duplex is. So it did pull the rent comps, ran it through the calculator with my financing terms that I have saved in this app, and then we can see the forecast over time based on appreciation and rent growth, and then some exit analysis. So if I hold for 10 years, I can assume 9.1% returns based on this appreciation and rent growth. So this is what I'm doing to screen deals quickly. This is obviously just a first pass. If I was serious about this deal, I would do more serious underwriting. But right now, it's just, this is the quickest way for me to get a first pass. And the other thing I can do, which is what I've been doing with Claude, is just to have it run a screening every week, seeing the properties that were listed and see if any fit my buy box. And it'll run it through Realastat, and then they just show up in my dashboard, and the ones that work, Claude mentioned. So I can show an example right now. I'll say find similar listings to this one in Kansas City that cash flow. So what it's going to do now is, instead of taking the URL that I provided for the listing, it's actually just going to go and search Zillow, Redfin, like other MLS for properties that were listed recently that are 4 bedroom, and then it's going to run it through Realastat and see if it cash flows. So yeah, there's so many use cases for AI these days, and this is one that I am taking advantage of. Yeah, it's calling the Realastat tool right here to analyze the property. Yeah, while that's running, I'm play around with different scenarios. So let's say I did get this purchase price down to $2,600. We can see how that changes the metrics here. So yeah, in a better monthly cash flow, better cash on cash. I self-manage. We can see how this goes. Yeah, no, that's looking good, right? Let's just underwrite property management as if I'm going to pay myself for self-managing. So yeah, this is what the deal looks like under this scenario. Let's say I don't get the rent I want and I get the rent coming in for 2,800. I'm still cash flowing. It's just not as much of a buffer and not as profitable as I'd want. Yeah, the 10-year returns are not great. I'd be better off putting money into a bond at that rate. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Claude's going at it. All targets met for this property. That does look interesting. Let's see what that looks like in the app. Which one was that? Yeah, Virginia Ave. Let's see if we can find it. Is this the one? No. That's not right. Claude got it wrong. I got it wrong. Ask price is way more than what? Yes, that deal's not going to work. Dang. Claude, failing me in the live demo. What is up with that? Let's check out these other properties. See what this one's looking like. For sale by owner. We've got a 4-bed single family. Let's see what it pencils out to. All right, expected rental income of 3,000. Let's see where it's located. Oops. Like someone already flipped this, so not sure how much value I can add into this property, so I don't think this is anything worth exploring further. Yeah, you can kind of gist in my workflow here. It's really the plugging into Realastat that makes the difference because it runs it based on my actual buy box. So this is what I have listed. These are the interest rate that I can get at this down payment with my lender. And these are the minimum thresholds that I want. I want $500 cash flowing monthly, ideally at 8% cash on cash. That service coverage ratio above like 1, return of equity of 14%, because I could be better off putting my money in the market and get 8 to 12%, right? So the time and energy and risk that I'm taking on to be working through a real estate deal and managing the property, those returns have to be higher, right? So then these are my market assumptions. Right now, I'm just leaving them blank and they're going to run at these percents. But say I am going to manage the property myself, I would put 0 here, right? Or if this was in like a nice downtown area where vacancy rate was lower, I could assume a lower vacancy rate. Yeah, target locations, this is more for Claude. So when I do have Claude plugged in here, it can go and look, check these specific cities for deals, and then property types. But yeah, anyways, this is the way that I have Claude set up to be running in the background, screening deals for me. And then everything's stored in this nice dashboard here. So yeah, this is the the workflow. The other thing that I can do, if I see something, I'm just scrolling along and I see something that's interesting to me, I can just grab a screenshot of the property information of a listing that I'm interested in, and then I can say my expected rent, and then I can run this analysis, and it's going to pull the numbers out of the screenshot and plug it into our calculator for us. So again, I just don't have to do any manual input. So yeah, this is the workflow. I'll let this run in the background. Yeah, everything's saved to this nice dashboard. If this workflow is something you want to try out, go to realastat.ai and give it a go. The app is live and free, so you can get started for free. No credit card down. Connect to Claude. Test out this workflow and see if it's adding value to your real estate deal screening process. And if you have feedback, you can drop that in the comments below or on the site. And if you want a specific feature or if this is missing anything, definitely let me know and I can add it in.